And welcome back. In this tutorial, we're gonna use a timer to create a basic counter. To do this, go up to the application menu up here, new project, and let's go ahead and use the simple interface. Go ahead and give it a name. I'm gonna call mine timer 2 and hit OK. Okay, first things first, go ahead and remove the play and credits button from that. We're not gonna need that for this tutorial. Go over here, select the label and then click it down onto the dialog. I'm going to go back to the pointer mode here. I'm just going to kind of change this up a little bit, put a little style on it. Bump up the size a little bit. Oh, box needs to be bigger there. And let's go bold. For that, I'm going to take out the label text and call it, just put a 0 in there real quick. And we'll call this LBL out. I'm going to go ahead and center it like that. And all right, let's go over to the code side here by hitting code. And I'm going to hold down control and use the zoom wheel to zoom up. Okay, first things first is we're going to need a variable to hold the counter value. You can find more about variables in a previous tutorial on the LastN site. For this, I'm going to call it count, and we're going to say count equals 0 on that. Okay, let's scroll down here. And I'm going to build an initialization method on this here real quick. So go ahead and put in a function init. And we're going to have to go ahead and start up this initialize function. And once again, functions are shown in the previous tutorial on lastn.com. Okay, so now we have our initialization function. We're going to want another function, and we're going to call this function, I'm going to say count it. In that up real quick, and in the count it's going to take, or count it, sorry, it's going to take the count, and then count equals the count plus 1, so it's going to add 1 each time on that. Now we need to push the value into the label basically. So to do this, let's go ahead and do a right click on the script board, go to quick commands, user interface, and let's see, label down here. This, you can cut off the video a little bit, but it's label text, and then you're going to want to go ahead and set it. All right, set text. It's on the dialog, which I could find right there, and then the next variable would be which label it is. So let's go dialog, comma, account, and then we're going to want to go, or sorry, LBL count, and now we're going to want to go ahead and put in the count value there. Okay, so now we have a basic function to count the numbers. Let's go ahead at this point and let's go ahead and add the timer in here to do that. Right under initialize components in the initialize function, go ahead and go into, let me scroll that up so they stay on the screen here. All right, go into the quick commands, go to engine, timers, and add. Okay, well now we have engine add timer. The first part is the amount of milliseconds it takes to fire each time, so 1,000 milliseconds, 1 second each. The next one is the script that it will initialize, and then the next one is the timer name. I'm going to call this one timer count. And for the function, let's go ahead and, or sorry, for the script part of it, let's go ahead and copy the count it function and put that in there like that. Okay, now that'll go through, and every second it'll add 1 and go ahead and it'll display it to the thing. I'm going to add something in here just to kind of complete this tutorial up. If the count is equal to 20, then we're going to go ahead and remove the timer here. So right within here, between the then and end, go ahead and do a right click, quick commands, engine, timer, and this time remove. Okay, now all we need to do is give it the timer count. Let me change the 20 to 10 seconds there. Don't want to have to wait that long for it. Okay, so that is basically everything you need to know about the timer there. There can be an unlimited amount of timers fired at different intervals. A lot of times in games, you are going to need different loops to do different things. To count numbers, to wait for a specific time. It really depends on what your design pattern is for it. But a quick overview of this real quick. Let's kind of see what the script does visually. Comes in and initializes the engine. The UI goes ahead and declares the count at 0. And then we have the visualization stuff, initialize component, and resize. We also then have the count it function here which is built, and then the initialize function which is built. Then it comes into initialize, calls it, goes into initialize component, does all that visual stuff up here. And then the next part, it comes in and adds a timer in at 1 second. So it's going to wait 1 second, and then when that first second comes, it's going to go up to count it. It's going to fire. It's going to add 1 to it. It's going to set that text to the label, and if it is 10, it's going to go ahead and remove that timer. Let's just go ahead and add 1 in here so we know that the timer is done on it, and it will no longer count at that point. We'll put in, basically set the label, and in here we're going to put done on that. And that is basically everything you need to know about a timer. They are very powerful and very useful. I find them actually very easy to use on that. So let's go ahead and go hit the test button on this and make sure everything works right, and we'll see it count to 10 and then hit the done. All right, test. Okay, we see it start at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and done. Of course, the 10 never shows because that label gets overridden by that done on that back. Or could have went with an else on that, but it does get the point across. Thank you very much, and have a good day.